Good evening, friends. We are reading passages from Avodat Hashem, Inner Work. We're on page 117. The spiritual wisdom left to us by the Baal HaSulam Zatzal and Rabbi Baruch Shalom Zatzal is beyond what we are able to appreciate. It is a treasure more valuable than anything in the world. So this is Rav Avraham Gottlieb talking, writing, and he's saying that the spiritual wisdom of both the Baal HaSulam, Rabbi Yehuda Ashlag, and his son, Rav Baruch Shalom Ashlag, this spiritual wisdom is beyond what we are able to appreciate. It is a treasure more valuable than anything in the world because it gives us insight into the purpose of creation. Again, just take a moment to contemplate having any sort of connection with the true purpose of creation. Not a thought, not an idea, not a theory, but true connection to the true purpose of this, of all of this, and guidance on how to both connect to the unity, connect to the creator of all existence, the source of all existence, guidance and direction on how to gain a similarity of form, as it says in the teachings. To have a doorway to achieve connection with the divine and with the will of the divine. It is clearly a treasure more valuable than anything in this world. This is the path we're on. This is the path of this Kabbalah, is a connection with the source of all existence and a connection to the divine will, the purpose of creation, and a pathway to become servants to the divine, to become helpers of fulfilling the divine will on this planet. A treasure more valuable than anything in the world and beyond what we're able to appreciate. Because right now, as I hear my own words, it doesn't land. And as you likely hear my words, it doesn't land. It doesn't land the weight of what we're actually exploring together. The source of existence, the creator of creation, and the divine will associated with that creator, the purpose of all that we see around us. It's beyond what we're able to truly appreciate. Mostly because it stays in the realm of theory and of cognition. It stays in the cognitive function, and it doesn't travel down to the heart, to the soul, to the body, to the being, to our being. If we were able to grasp these teachings and what I'm saying with our full being, it would have a profound impact. It would change the course of our life, of our lives. But that's part of the galut paradigm, is the paradigm makes there be a veil between us and the truth, And even if we hear the truth, there still is a veil between us and the true manifestation of it entering into our being and transforming our lives. This is the veil of the exile paradigm that we live in, that even when we're close to the truth, it is still millions of miles away or lifetimes away. This is why the teachings are constantly talking about Emunah, because we need to cultivate embodied faith, because we're in the galut and the truth is here, but we cannot feel it and absorb it and truly and deeply appreciate it for what it is. When it is seen that a person appreciates every drop of holiness, then the person is given more and more. So beautiful. When it is seen that a person appreciates every drop of holiness, when we recognize that the world, everything around us, surrounding us, is full of sacred light. It's absolutely, utterly sacred. The plastic, the metal, the screen is full of cosmic light. It's all sacred. And we're able to appreciate the holiness vibrating all around us with each thing. When at this level that we're at, right, each of us is a kli, a vessel, and we are capable of holding a certain amount of light in that vessel. When we're able, when it says when a person's able to appreciate every drop of holiness, it's talking about for that particular iteration of the kli, of the vessel, for that particular capacity. When that capacity is full, you're able to appreciate every drop of holiness at the capacity of your current vessel, then your vessel pops open more. It expands more, and the person is given more holiness. They're able to receive more light and holiness. The Rebbe Zatzal would say, working on ourselves to be in divine service when we do not feel God's goodness is possible. Doing this with joy is very hard, but this is the work. Right? So just as we were saying, working on ourselves to be in divine service when we do not feel God's goodness, when we do not experience the divine light, we don't experience the sacred in everything around us. We don't feel the vibration of God's light flowing through all of the inanimate objects around us, through all of the life around us. When we don't feel that, it is still possible to be in divine service. We can work on ourselves to be in divine service. That is the work. That is the work of this galut paradigm, because for the most part, we are not zocha, we're not merited to receive the revelation of the divine in every moment. Mostly we're living in what we call mundane reality, where we're just floating through the world with the veils covering over, keeping out the light. So the Rebbe is saying that this is possible to be in divine service even when we're not experiencing God's goodness, God's light, God's love. But doing this with joy is very hard. But this is the work, right? So he's saying not only is it possible, but we should be aspiring to be Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, that we should be aspiring to be serving the divine through our emunah in joy. In joy. So really pushing, right? It's one thing to serve the divine in austerity or in seriousness, but it's another thing, which is very hard work, to be serving with joy, to serve with emunah, without experiencing directly God's love, and serving with joy. Love is the essence, joy and happiness come from the love. Ahava hi etzem, sasun v'simcha hem totza'ah. Yeah, love is the essence because God's light, a synonym for that is God's love. So everything is flowing with God's light and with God's love, eternally showering down upon us unconditionally. All we need to do is open our hearts to receive it, open our eyes to see the truth of the beauty and the love that is radiating down upon us, because we are not with these veils that cover our eyes, our capacity to see and feel. They don't let us see the true form, right? We live in the shadows, like as Plato's allegory of the cave, which I'm not going to say right now, but you can look it up, presents that we are living in the shadows, and we call the shadows reality. So you're looking at me, you're seeing a human being and hearing these words. Really what's radiating is divine light and love. I'm not saying that from an egocentric place. I'm saying that from a place of just fact, that these beings that we are radiating love through us, as us. We are an utter miracle. You are an utter miracle, a walking miracle, a creature who can speak words and receive information and hear and understand. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it from going too far, but you can imagine like that we're aliens. We're these very mysterious animals on the planet, but we see ourselves separate from nature, so we don't really see ourselves as being animals. But our truth is that we are primates, we're animals, we come from evolution, we're part of biology and the animal kingdom. But we're so wrapped into our identities, the masks that we put on, that we don't see our beauty. We don't feel the beauty of this creature that we are. So I'm going to invite you to just take a look in the mirror. Just do a practice of looking in the mirror and seeing yourself as nature. Seeing yourself as just a creature of nature, as you would look at a deer, a fawn, and you would admire the beauty of that. Admire the natural beauty, not the Hollywood garbage beauty that we are presented with to be what is beauty in the world. A beauty is what radiates from our nature, naturally, from our true essence. Love is the essence. You are that love. You are that essence. Joy and happiness come from that love, come from being able to receive and connect and to be that love. We are all here to be that love, radiate that love, be received as that love, and receive others as that love. That is our human birthright. If there is love, there can be joy and happiness. If there is love, there can be joy and happiness. The greater the love, the greater the joy and happiness. The joy and happiness are in giving and believing. The joy and the happiness are in hashpa'ah and giving, emunah, and in embodied faith. So this tags along with what we just said. If there is love, there can be joy and happiness. When we're connected to that love, there's joy and happiness. And the more we're connected to that love, the greater the joy and happiness that we can experience. And the joy and happiness come from hashpa'ah, from giving, from being so full with that love and that joy and happiness that our longing is to give back. Is to give back to the Creator, is to serve the source of all existence with all of our heart, our soul, and our might, our resources, as it says in the Shema. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha. With all your heart, with all your soul, and all your resources. So when we're full with that love and then that joy and happiness that comes from that joy and happiness extend then into our giving and our emunah, like just knowing, just deeply embodied faith, knowing that this is why we're here, this is what creation is about, your purpose and your existence, your purpose in this world, this is what it is. And you know that there's this clarity, deep clarity. That's why the gift of union is so beyond all measure of bliss. Because we live in a world of confusion. The world of galut is a world of confusion. So if you can imagine being a being, an animal life form that has been through all this evolution to come to know itself as life and then to know its purpose, the reason it was created, the creation knowing the reason it was created. And with that emunah, living that embodied faith to serve, to be of service, right? No longer concerned with receiving self-gratification, which is what most of us are consumed with on the daily. How do I get my next need met? When you're in union and you're in this fullness of receiving the love of closeness to the Creator, and through that there's a divine clarity that fills your being of knowing the purpose of my existence. That clarity is a bliss beyond measure. It's a bliss beyond measure. A pleasure beyond measure, as the Rav said earlier in the book. No one would give that up for anything. Knowing that pleasure, that clarity. Right? And this is so, I'm just feeling the Matrix, right? Just the movie, the Matrix. The shadows of this world, living it, and then waking up and recognizing the truth of what's happening and the mission that you are sent on. You don't go back. You don't go back to the Matrix. You don't go back to sleep. The clarity is profound. And the joy and happiness that come from being in service through Emunah, are utterly profound. Final passage for tonight. The Rebbe Zatzal said, quote, "If a person has a good desire or a good thought, but nothing actually comes of it, it is a sign of a deficiency in the thought itself. The thought was not strong enough to give birth to action." So the Rebbe, which is referring to Rav Baruch, and I just want to say I apologize if I've confused things in the past when I say the Rebbe or the Rav. The Rebbe is referring to Rav Baruch, the son of Rav Ashlag. He said this: if a person has a good desire or a good thought, but nothing actually comes of it, meaning that the thought doesn't create transformation, it doesn't create action. It's a sign of the deficiency in the thought itself. That the thought itself has a deficiency. It's deficient of a particular type of energy that is necessary to create transformation. The thought was not strong enough to give birth to action. Right? So all these thoughts, all of what we're sharing and expressing, that they're unless they're creating transformation of consciousness, then there's a deficiency within them. And I'm not going to pretend that what I'm saying has that power. It likely has a deficiency in it. But it's the effort that's there and the understanding of the teachings and the wisdom that we're sharing. And this wisdom is sharing that if the thought does not create action and transformation, then it has a deficiency. It's not strong enough to impact the being. So it's also, like I said, it's part of the galut paradigm that even if the thought is coming from truth, it is a positive desire, a positive thought. It's coming from truth. But no change is coming from it. In part, that has to do with the galut paradigm and the veils that are covering us, that are keeping us from action. It also has to do with our readiness, the readiness of the soul to transform. So each of us is on our own trajectory of development and transformation. Each of us is at a different stage in our process of development. And each of us is at a different level of readiness to transform. So there's no need to chastise oneself or get down on oneself if a thought isn't creating transformation. It means that there's not enough strength or energy in the system to be ready for that transformation. That in our stage of development, on our process, on our journey, we're not there yet. We haven't cultivated enough energy yet. So it doesn't mean to give up. It just means to continue to increase positive thoughts, to increase these meditations and contemplations on the magic of every moment, the beauty, the love of each of us, the sacredness of every moment, of everything around us. These thoughts to continue to percolate in them, to continue to thinking of P words, procreate more, to create more, to just to build more of those thoughts, to have a practice of contemplation in this way, of self-observation in this way, to separate from the mind and try and take the thoughts deeper down into the being. There has to be a practice to have the thoughts, the meditations, the contemplations be powerful enough to create the transformation that we're looking for. And also the depending on the source that they're coming from. So obviously a more awakened being is going to be able to transmit those thoughts more powerfully and potently to another individual, and someone with less awakening is going to transmit less of that power and that energy. It depends how pure the transmission is, right? So I don't want to pretend that my transmission is pure. It's not. It's mixed with my own stuff and my own doubt and my own level of development. Yeah. So I'm not sure how much I actually fully believe or agree with this statement, that the thought has a deficiency itself. Because these thoughts are clear and true. The thoughts not necessarily has a deficiency. It's our capacity to receive the thought in order to create the transformation, the desired transformation. Yeah, but perhaps if I had more faith, more emunah, then my words would carry more power with them. Anyway, let me know what you think, if you have any thoughts on this. All right, we'll pause there for tonight. Have a wonderful night.